Noise suppression powered by Crisp. On, off. Nope. I'm going to turn that back off.
I think you should turn it on and move the mic closer to your face.
The mic is pretty close to my face. However,
It sounds like you're locked in
A vacuum.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
does sound pretty bad.
Maybe unplug it, plug it back in. Try restarting it.
Have you?
What about this?
Did you turn it on and off again? Well, that's muted. That's different. Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Oh, God.
Oh God.
You didn't even say anything. I already knew it was about to happen.
My ears. I was waiting for my ears to start
Yeah.
bleeding.
Yeah, I can't make it not sound like ass. I'm sorry.
Heard, Ryan. He needs a new mic.
Yeah, I'll just pull all the podcast money I've been making and not telling you guys about. I'll just whip that out and get him a new mic.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I'll dip into the budget for that, sure. We've got one of those, right? Right?
So now that we realize that that's not going to happen, what I would like to say is that I was thinking about me talking to you guys about just getting here in time with my groceries. And in my mind, I was thinking of saying that I downloaded groceries. And then I was like, wait a minute. That's not correct.
You wouldn't download groceries.
You wouldn't download
But
groceries.
how awesome would it be if you could download your groceries?
I would be so
Bro,
fast.
This is like...
Bro,
Go ahead.
people download groceries all the time.
It's just the wrong kind of groceries.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, I got you, Blaze.
Yeah.
It's like the Spy Kids like Insta meals, like popcorn bag microwave meals or whatever it was. Through like a freaking MRE in a microwave, and it came out a McDonald's meal. That's what I need. That's not what I need. So you have groceries in the car? Is that what you're saying?
They're in the fridge.
Oh, they're in the fridge.
Yeah, I downloaded them already. It's cool.
Oh, excellent.
Downloaded them already. Excellent, yes.
Now I just have to spend the time to install them after the podcast is over.
Install them into yourself, yes.
Yes.
I understand. All right, well, I guess we can go ahead and get started then. At 6. Wow, we're actually going to start kind of on time. Hey, welcome back to the Ignorant Expert. What did you do? What are you doing? I have to start over.
Son of a bitch.
Welcome back to the Ignorant Experts podcast. This is episode 8 or 9. I don't remember. I'm
Pretty sure it's 9. I missed 8.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 9. And everybody's back. Zach didn't have to work today. Seth isn't here because we don't love him. Like we love everybody else.
True story.
Yeah, this is true. So, Zach, do you want Fuzz to go first, or should Blaze go first?
I don't care either way.
Okay, I'm really itching to give Blaze.
Give Blaze his first, yeah.
Blaze, I hope you're prepared.
Hit me.
I hope you're prepared.
Hit me.
You are a penetration tester. Yeah.
Should have given me that one. So,
Do you know what that is, Fuzz?
I do, yeah.
Ah, I want that job.
Blaze, what exactly do you penetration test?
Well, you could say I penetration test a lot of things. And yes, there's a lot of jokes that come up in the office. I know. It's an interesting job, but what we do is we get things, and then we stab them with hydraulic vice or hydraulic clamps. It's sort of like a vice, except you have like a flat plate, and then you put the material down, and then you have a big spike that you just basically force into it. Kind of like a hardness test.
I see.
My
Very.
first usual question is, how do you become a penetration tester? Have you
Well,
always been fascinated with penetrating, or I mean,
see, you gotta get your foot in the door, and then you kind of gotta mosey on over, and then you just sort of like watch. To start out, you gotta start watching other people penetrate things,
mm,
and then
yes.
you get familiar with the penetration scene, and then then eventually people will retire, and then you'll get to kind of step into the role of penetration yourself.
So I know some about penetration testing, not a whole lot, because I'm not with you being an expert. Do you prefer red team or blue team?
Excuse me, your mic sounds terrible. What was that?
I said, do you prefer red team or blue team?
Red team or blue team?
Yeah.
Well, it's a difficult question, Fuzz, because
I'm sure it is for you.
sometimes I like to be on both teams.
You
Oh,
play
you like penetrating both teams.
you play
I
both
see.
sides. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, the I like the blue test, but the red test is also very good. Sometimes it depends on how I'm feeling that day. Sometimes a particular material needs the blue test over the red test, or the red test over the blue test.
So how do your penetration tests differ from a Rockwell hardness test?
Um, Basically, it's just the shape of the penetration device,
Okay.
or the piece that actually goes into the material.
I see. Why does penetration testing exist? What's the market for that?
Well, there's different kinds of penetration testing. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the hardness testing is sort of a form of penetration testing, but there's also like particular products that are designed to resist penetration. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Vests, certain belts, things of that nature, clothing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting. Brad, you got any other
Okay.
questions for our penetration testing?
So, how long does one have to go to school to become an expert in penetration?
Well, technically only 4 years, and then you can do a lot of on-the-job training. You know, uh, going around, being part of uh, it, the penetration field. But
Hmm.
you could go and you could get your master's in penetration, or your doctorate, but uh, the doctorates are usually not good return on investment for this field anyway.
I
Gotcha,
see.
gotcha.
Well,
Hmm.
I really want to know what you call yourselves.
Hmm. Good question.
I
That is
really,
a
I
good
really, I
question.
really want to know.
there's
What's the name of your
uh,
company?
well, sometimes when 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 there's like a really big test that we have to do, sometimes we call ourselves big penetrators.
Hmm.
Mm, I
All
see.
right, your 5 minutes is up. Good job, Blaze. So
Wow.
I guess it depends on who you ask. But penetration testers range from hackers to like actual people penetrating defenses of things. So hackers penetration test like defenses or cybersecurity defenses, and you can get paid to do this.
Ah.
They're apparently also penetration testers for like physical locations that need security. I know it's something that like I'm saying a lot that the army uses to just train each other. They do penetration tests on stuff and to figure out if locations are secure or how to secure locations better. But most of the research I found was on hacking, cybersecurity.
So I'm going to bolster your expertise here a little bit. Penetration testing in the field is frequently referred to as pen testing for short. And it is both cyber and physical security. A lot of attacks involve a combination of both. Where somebody might be you might hire a security testing or pen testing business to enter your building after hours without a key and go and install malware on a computer or something like that, because especially with government facilities, it's important to have top-notch security. So they're testing. Basically, it's a bad guy. You're hiring somebody to be the bad guy without being the bad guy, right? And so pen testers will test people's security, both physical and in the software realm, and then give solutions for their weaknesses. Really, really interesting subject matter. You might check out DEF CON for some of those things, just sort of in the hacker slash type community. But then also there's a podcast called Darknet Diaries, which I'm very fond of, which talks a lot with people who do different types of pen testing. That's not their only subject matter, but it just comes up frequently in that podcast. So I would recommend it. It's very entertaining if you're into like cyber crime type stuff.
So that's defcon.org is the website for DEF CON, but you said it was Darknet Diaries?
Darknet Diaries, yeah.
What is the name of that podcast that you listen to? Okay.
Yeah.
Just in case someone listening to this couldn't understand you recording through your whiskey glass. The muddy water, which we've tried to fix and couldn't fix in time, so we'll fix it before next week's podcast. But all right, Fuzz. Zach's got something special for you. I heard. I still don't know what it is, but I'm excited.
Okay.
All right, Fuzz. So you are the world's leading expert on paper towel sniffing.
Paper towel sniffing.
Yep, you are a paper towel sniffer, a professional paper towel sniffer.
Why, yes, I am.
All right, you got 5 minutes. Wow, I didn't know that was a job. Did you invent this?
No, this job is part of the paper goods industry. Like toilet tissue, paper towels, and stuff like that. They need to have a certain scent to them. People are very particular about that, especially when you're talking about things that are going onto your skin. You have to like do a balance between scent and also like, is it okay to wipe your rear end with, or like, is it okay to wipe this mess up with? And if this mess coincides with this certain scent, does it make a god awful smell that you don't want to smell? So, particularly for scented paper towels, most paper towels try to take on the most neutral scent, but paper, as it's manufactured, as we all know, paper plants smell. Paper doesn't really smell that good. So, paper towels, a lot of times you don't think they are actually scented paper. And so, the paper towel sniffer, my job is to choose between different scents of outgoing paper towels. Something that you just kind of have to work in the industry, and then it's more of a gravy position once you get there. But it exists.
Because
you know,
I'm going to be honest. It sounds like one of those jobs that that a father would create for his like deadbeat son to do. He's like, look, I know you're good. I know you're good for nothing, but I've created this empire of paper and paper towels and toiletries, it sounds like. I need you to sniff these because it's the only thing I trust you to do. Is that kind of the case with the founding of the job?
So not everybody employs
more prestigious.
Yeah, well, not everybody employs paper towel sniffers because most people can just smell something and be like, "Oh, that doesn't smell good. Let's do something different." But the companies where it really matters, like such as Kleenex and stuff like that, other companies like Georgia Pacific, that kind of thing. The paper towel sniffing comes about usually by either two ways, and it could be both at the same time, which is it gets handed down by the executive suite, or it's like somebody who got hired on at a fairly high level who has an arts degree and wants this position in their company. Especially when you're talking about, because there are places where tissues and toiletries merge with the makeup industry. And so those people, I mean, obviously huge on scent. Those are kind of given positions in those types of companies and those types of customers. So yeah, it's a both. So yeah, it could be just like here's a new position because I want to hire somebody attractive to, and or my deadbeat son, and then it's also like people who take it very seriously can do very good and make lots of money at it. So
So it's kind of contractual almost. You can be hired out. You could be hired out to different companies to do this, or is it like an umbrella thing?
it's more like everybody's sniffer is in house. I mean,
Mm,
you can move around within the industry just because it's such a niche job, but you can't burn any bridges because it's such a niche job. So yeah, I mean, it could be contractual. I've never run into that situation before, but yeah, it's sure, certainly. Why not?
all right, two things are coming up on time pretty soon. Blaze, did you have any questions? I've got one more.
What's the worst thing you've ever smelled?
That's a good question.
In the paper field.
Good question.
Well, there was a time when the company I was working for, who will remain unnamed for obvious reasons, tried to make a pumpkin spice scented palette. That did not go over well at all.
But
They
was it a dry or wet towelette?
It was a dry towelette. Yeah, it was a dry towelette. Had it been successful, it might have been a wet towelette eventually, but there went through many revisions of that just before giving it up altogether. Much to my relief, they gave it up altogether. So,
Well, that's good.
yeah.
All right, we're running out of time here, so I'm gonna ask one more question. Then, if Blaze has anything else after that, the nose got to be insured, got to be super accurate. How much is that nose worth, bud?
Well, it's not insured, but obviously, I do keep good care of it. Make sure I take, you know, surprisingly, my allergies are kind of bad, so I have to make sure I stay at the ENT and make sure I'm getting my allergy medication so I can smell as best as possible, and that I'm in neutral environments and not environments where there's strong smelling candles, things like that of that nature. But the nose, I guess, is worth whatever my salary is worth, which not necessarily feel comfortable about disclosing on the podcast. Just my style, you know.
That's fair. That's fair. Any closing remarks, Blaze?
No.
His
Good.
time is up. All right, Zach, what is it?
Exactly what it sounds like. They are people that just sniff paper towels to make sure that they are the correct scent and that they are odorless most times, actually. So the biggest thing is you're trying to make sure that they don't have a scent because people don't want their paper towels to smell like stuff. It
Makes sense.
is a very lucrative job, actually. In New Jersey, it pays up to $95 an hour.
Huh.
So that's pretty good money. So,
It's a lot of paper towel sniffing.
What's the cost of living in New Jersey?
I don't really know.
My nose
That
would
wasn't
be
really something.
insured if I was making 95 an hour.
Uh, so a lot of times, so they are odor evaluators is another name for them. And they rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being insulted, like it insults your nose to smell it, so it's very strong, and then 10 being there is no smell, it's smell free. So interesting stuff.
Huh.
Yeah,
That
nice.
is that's
Something I would do as a side job probably because why not if you can make $95 an hour doing it? But
I imagine the ceiling, the skill ceiling to get into that job is probably way steeper than it seems. You know,
I mean, it might be,
wonder if you have to
but
train your smells. So like
Probably have to.
as an edit. Sorry, go ahead, please.
I bet you have to be able to kind of assign almost a percentage, like 1 to 10,
Mm-hmm.
of how smelly something is, and be able to accurately gauge smell amounts as far as like for like a certification test.
Yeah. So I imagine it's like recording tech and audio. When I was in college doing the curriculum for being a like an audio engineer, they had us. There was a class where all you did was listen to different sounds, and we started out with different hertz. So like the baseline of human hearing all the way up to where you can't hear it anymore, and then they would test you on it, and it's like, okay, well, if you can hear where the hurt is, you have to identify it correctly, and some of that stuff is so unbelievably inaudible that you can just like barely, just barely hear it. And I imagine smelling's got to be something like that. It's like, man, I really don't smell it, but if I try really hard, I can kind of tell it's there. Like I couldn't tell you where, but I could kind of tell. It's one of the hardest things I think I've ever had to do because I don't know if my hearing's bad or that stuff is just so quiet. But it was a fun class, but man, it was challenging. I did not do well. The more you know.
Very interesting.
The more you know. All right, what do we want to start with? There's a bunch of stuff on the agenda today. We can start with. Well, I'll start with the anime thing. It's really not that much. The Demon Slayer movie is currently the highest grossing movie coming out of Japan ever. And that
Which is pretty awesome.
That's pretty exciting, is what that means. Like, they got to see it in theaters, and I would love to see it in theaters. But whenever it gets a sub and comes out in theaters, which I imagine it will, it's going to be hype, and I would love to go.
I'll go with you, Ryan. Let me just fly in from
Thanks.
Hawaii.
Thanks, Zach. I'll sneak a phone, and then I'll stream it to you. The audio is going to be great. Do we want to move on to gaming stuff, or do we want to move on to the biggest thing that's happening in our lives right now that's not everything else in the world falling apart?
I mean, we might take a second to talk about the GameStop thing.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
They're kind
That
of the
is
same
exactly
thing.
what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I need opinions before we go into this. Thoughts, feelings?
It's such an economically and socially interesting situation. Like, I'm riveted by the possibilities. It could get really crazy. Most likely, I feel like the SEC and the people with actual money are going to do their best to shut that down. But that also means
It's already happening. They already are doing that. Not the
Right.
SEC, but the people with money are complaining to the SEC. But to me, all that the people on Reddit did are doing exactly what the hedge funds are doing. They're manipulating the stock to make them money. And that is what they're doing.
They're not even manipulating. It's not like a small group of people manipulating the entire market. It's like a lot of people manipulating.
Yeah, it's hundreds and maybe even thousands of people.
I heard it was like millions.
Yeah, there's millions of trades.
Like, was it like 2 or 4 million people?
Something like that. I don't know the exact numbers. Well, that was obnoxious. Dude with his motorcycle. Yeah, Robinhood. I don't know if they retracted their statement, but they had said that they were gonna disalallow the trade.
They are allowing limited trades right now.
Limited trade and selling of GameStop. They were threatening to stop it for like a week.
And AMC and I can't remember. There was one other one.
And Naked. And what was the other one? You're right. There was one more. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But that's crazy. I love it personally. I think it's a great step for the internet that we finally get a win as the internet, because not talking about if you fall on one side of the political spectrum or another, or whether or not you believe the United States is doing good things in the world. It's literally about the internet being free and doing things. Because the last time we had a big internet event, it was really the net neutrality thing. In my mind,
and we lost that, unfortunately.
So we won the first battle on net neutrality, and then something happened, and they snuck the net neutrality bill in. The next time, it was like a month later, they snuck it in and they passed it. So that, like, we've taken a lot of L's as the collective internet, and we've seen a lot of just like censorship or websites changing, just in general. Reddit's become kind of a, I don't know, it's become kind of a wild west of whether or not you post something, it stays regardless of what kind of content is posted. And the people there on Reddit have become like more and more degenerate. I guess it's become kind of a theme to be a Reddit degenerate, and those degenerates saved GameStop. They decided
Because
they were
GameStop, don't get me,
was
GameStop is
dying.
going to die.
Was dying. 100%. Your
It
stock's
does
at
not need to be
$4 a
said.
share. You're dead.
Yeah, so here's my take on this. What I really think would like if that gets allowed to go unchecked, right? And all of a sudden, every hedge fund manager is own Wall Street bets, and then everybody's pulling the same lever at the casino, and then it's just about when do you jump off the ship. So the stock market becomes this thing where everybody's trying to somehow squeeze out money, right? Just in a very like on a single stock, and then like either you lose or you don't. If you don't get out early enough, you lose. If you get out early, you don't make enough money. But it's literally just like it would be gamified to such a point. It's like the stock market is very clear for what it is, which I guess in a way it
That's,
kind of already is.
that's already what it is.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that is what the stock market is.
I mean,
But-
it is what the stock market is, but like that level of clarity for what it is, I think would be really crazy.
Well, you're talking about now that the regular person has access to this information. The everyday man, the everyday woman, the everyday person has access to the stocks and the same access that the inside traders have, and can make decisions as a group on what they want to bid on, the stocks that they want to have, the shares they want to have. And I think that's great. I think we've had that power all along, and that we just didn't know it. And this is just one more step in the wait. Wall Street doesn't control us. We control Wall Street. And if we could apply that to different aspects of just the system in general, the overall system, especially battling things like I was going to say FedEx, Facebook, selling our information without our knowledge. And now, of course, we've agreed to it because they've updated their terms and conditions because we found out. But like battling stuff like that, finding ways to make our information work better for us. I would love to see that. And of course the government's going to step in. They're going to stop it. They've already tried to, and they will. I guarantee you, but before Monday, it's going to be insanely difficult to sell AMC, GameStop.
Part of the problem here is that like as a law, you would have to ban the action, not the buying and selling of a certain stock. And if you do that, then it's also banned for the big guys too, right? Like, I mean, they might find some way to make it punitive for the common man and not the big guys, but just it would be difficult to do so. But I kind of enjoy the it's a very clear visual on like how irrelevant. How irrelevant the stock market is to actual economics.
Well, it's a 6-month prediction. I don't know if y'all know how stocks and stuff work, but it's a 6-month prediction of what the company will be in 6 months.
Works like gas.
Like that's how, yeah. It's a guessing game basically.
Well, until you start shorting stocks, and then you have
Which is what hedge funds do.
Which is what hedge funds do, and then you control the downward trend, and you could argue that that's less of a gamble and less of a guessing and more of just a numbers game. You know where it's going to go because you're in control of how it's deflating, except for when Reddit steps up and actually does something that I would consider was a win, which is very rare for Reddit.
So just because we haven't said it, I'd like to say clearly what actually is the GameStop thing, which is that there's a subreddit on Reddit called Wall Street Bets who all got together and said, hey, we like this company. The stock is released cheap. This happened with GameStop, AMC, Hertz, Nokia. Like these are way undervalued. Like let's just buy it up and pump it up as much as we can. But the way they did that was that they used puts instead of actually buying the stock. They bought the stock, and they reserve the stock now at whatever price they wanted. They can agree on in order to have it later. So those puts forced the people they were reserving the stock with to buy the stock, which drove up the price. right? And then all of a sudden they're able to make money because they reserve the stock at a much lower price than what it's worth. So
Costs
yeah,
big
and
hedge
that
funds tons.
yeah, and there you go. That's kind of where we're at with that. And because that's the first time, I mean, this with the stock market, this stuff goes on behind closed doors all the time.
Yeah.
But this is the first time that it's been in very clear, plain text where everyone can see it. And so it creates a huge difference in how that plays out.
Yeah, it's the first time, to my knowledge, it was an organized, a semi-organized group of people who decided that they were going to actively influence the market in a radical way. Now, I don't know if their intentions were to make money or if their intentions were to screw over hedge fund
I think it's a good
investors.
combination of both.
Yeah, it might. Knowing Reddit, it's certainly a combination
Well,
of both.
yeah, I don't know how much you've frequented Wall Street Bets. Back when I did Reddit, I was a subscriber to it, but by and large, number one, they probably did it for the lulls and the memes.
They are a bunch of degenerate a-holes, to be fair.
Yeah. So, yeah, because like when I originally frequented that stuff, I was like, I know there's something here. These people know what they're talking about. They're smart. I just can't tell which is real advice and which is memes, right? Like I don't know enough about the market to say like, oh yeah, they're talking about this and that would be actually be a good buy, and no, they're talking about this and actually that would be an awful buy. They're just joking. So, but yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have been reading up on it, but uh, did you hear about Janet Yellen? Do you know who that is?
No.
Nope.
She is the current Secretary of the Treasury,
Oh, I did hear about that.
and she got paid $800,000 by the hedge fund that's getting screwed over by the GameStop situation.
I also know that the leader of the Nasdaq. I don't know if he's a CEO or if he's just the head guy. I'm not sure what.
Oh, the multi-billionaire. Yeah, I
Yeah, I'm
saw
not
him
sure what his official
complaining.
title is. Yeah, he was calling for regulation on, was it
He was
CNBC,
saying some
CNN,
he was saying some
CNN.
other very unpopular opinions.
Also,
He's basically saying, well, just to clarify on that, in case you don't watch CNN, which I don't like to, but I did see it. He basically said that the poor people need to stop trying to manipulate the stocks. That's what they do. It's
basically.
just the
Also,
runaround version of that.
he was not a pretty person to look at. Like, I don't know. I don't
He
want to.
he reminds me of Raisin.
A little bit. Now that's not the guy who cried, right?
He was one of the people the one on CNN. He was crying about them,
Was that
not like
was that the bald dude?
physically crying, but complaining about.
Yeah. Well, he was also like the guy on the CNBC who was the leader of the Nasdaq or CNN. I don't remember which one it was. I didn't see him cry, but I did see him like really out of his element. Like he was really just, what is the correct word? He was just shaken, really frustrated, really flustered. Maybe
He
to be
probably lost a crap ton of money.
well,
Yeah.
I'm sure he did, and man, my heart really bleeds for the
For that
multi-billionaire,
billionaire.
for that billionaire who probably still has billions regardless. Like my heart really bleeds, but when you tell the poor people they need to stop intruding, that really makes me hate you. And I have no sleep or love lost for these hedge fund millionaires, billionaires who are doing this thing. Because man, that's it's I don't know. It's like a rich man's game.
That's exactly what he called it too.
And it's
And
yeah.
you know, if they take a bet and they lose a crap ton of money on it, they shouldn't have put so much money in the bet. You know.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
They're mad someone played the game like they play the game. That's the only thing. They're just mad that someone else played the
Yep.
game like they do, and they lost. And that's like, okay, so what you did was you bought out all your competition, so now you do it all together, and new competition arose, like the free market is supposed to allow. That's kind of how capitalism works. Um, you know, maybe you lose. Maybe it's time to go home. Time to cut your losses and go. I don't know. I think it's great. I love it.
I mean, it's pretty cool, but also at the same time, I just have this disgusted feeling within myself because I know that the money's gonna win. Like it's just that's the end of it. Like no matter what happens, even if it got to the point where citizens wanted to sue the SEC with antitrust laws or whoever, like it doesn't matter. They have so much money that you're not going to get anything meaningful to happen.
Well, they're suing Robinhood. There's a class action suit going on against Robinhood.
I saw that.
So
Wasn't it?
I'm really unhappy that I don't have Robinhood right now or use it because I would 100% jump in on that.
It's because they stopped it for a little while and then they realized, hey, this is illegal. We need to open it back up.
That's exactly what it was. So I don't know. I think I count it as an internet win. I count it as a win for the people. Anything that makes the billionaires go, you shouldn't do that. That's not for you to do. Means it just goes to reinforce my personal thought that the people of the 1% don't see us as human beings. They don't see you as a person. Yeah, the wealthy will look down on you for not being one of them. So that's also I feel like I have to say this because everybody says it, and just covering our own butts. We are not offering financial advice. We are not professionals. We're not telling you whether or not you should buy or sell stock. We're just talking about anecdotally in our own personal experience and thoughts what we think is happening and what we believe is happening and how we interpret it. This is not financial advice. Make sure to.
That is true.
Make sure to put that.
Because it's a hard game.
We don't want to get sued for quote giving financial advice.
The financial game is crazy, and I don't know enough about it to put money into
Super scary.
it.
That will put you away. Anyway.
All right, what do we got next, Ryan?
I don't know. I'm glad that we were kind of on the same page there. I thought maybe Fuzz would come in and be like, I really don't think they should have gone in and abused this Reddit power, but he's kind of on board with all of us, which is really a breath of fresh air. Thank you, Fuzz.
Yeah, no, those guys have been doing that. Those billionaire guys have been doing that for like decades.
Yeah. Since the beginning of time.
So, in terms of electric vehicle news, there's not really a whole lot going on. Elon continues to like tweet stuff and people freak out over his tweets, like some kind of cult following, but there's nothing really big happening. No recalls, no.
Did you hear the Biden thing about electric vehicles?
The what
I
thing?
did hear about that. The reason, okay, so I'll let you tell it, Blaze, actually. You probably know a little bit more. I just heard it in passing.
I'm talking about how Biden is saying that he wants to replace U.S. fleet vehicles with American-made EVs.
I did not hear about that.
That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about the speaker of that, like, he pushed the Green New Deal after Pelosi complained about losing so much money in some of her stocks while we were still on the stock stuff. And then after the Green New Deal was pushed hard, she gained back over, like, I think $4.5 million or something in her stocks after the Green New Deal was announced. So, stock manipulation by the president. Cool.
Yeah, that's probably been going on for a while. I wouldn't say that's
I don't think that's exclusive.
Unusual.
And to be fair, anybody who has, I don't like to use the word clout because I feel like it's a cop out, but anyone who's of that position or can reach a ton of people by saying anything, like even influencers, like if you say that you use something, in this case it was the Green New Deal and you'd have to go and wrap that whole package, but like you can influence the market just by using products. Like if Elon tells you that he uses Heinz over Kroger brand, I would almost guarantee that Heinz stock would go up.
Well, Heinz is better than Kroger brand, so.
It's true. Heinz is better than all brands.
Well,
Heinz is
maybe
delicious.
it's time to break up the ketchup monopoly. I don't know.
What if, I'm just saying, what if it's the exact same thing? Just has a different label on it.
It's probably really close.
But it's
But
not.
that's just an example. Like, if anybody who has authority or influence over people say they're going to do something, or they want to, the presidents or Congress wants to make a deal, they always make deals that are in interest to their pocketbooks. Always have.
Facts.
Always have. Always will, honestly. And that's why our government sucks. Anyway,
Okay, well, there we are.
there's tons of stuff
Don't
in
strike
gaming
us down,
news.
America.
I just said they suck. I didn't say we should overthrow them or anything. I just said it sucks. That's safe.
Whoa,
I have
whoa.
free speech still.
Do you? Just kidding.
That's not for the podcast. There's tons of stuff in gaming news. If you guys want to talk about that.
Sure.
Well, that was
What you got?
unanimous. I appreciate that. So the EA is setting up a new studio for Skate 4. So Skate 4 will be out eventually in a studio called Full Circle. It's going to develop Skate 4. I never played the skates because I'm a Tony Hawk Pro Skater Elite.
Skate is really good, and people have been waiting on Skate. I think the last one came out on Xbox 360. So I know it has a huge cult following, and people are very excited for it. I liked the Skate games. I also enjoyed Tony Hawk more, but those stopped coming out or they stopped being good. I can't remember. It happened so long ago. Skate was a more true skating game, whereas like Tony Hawk was more of an arcade skater, so.
Yeah, you can be Shrek. Come on, man.
I prefer the casualness of the arcade system.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing.
I don't know. I'm excited for it. It should be good.
Yes. So before we get to some of the sad news, I don't know if anybody else has heard about it. I hadn't heard about it until I found it on the gaming news subreddit. But there's a Diablo-like Magic the Gathering game coming out. The beta's on the March 23rd. It's called Magic Legends. It looks pretty dope. The trailer's really good. Zach and I signed up for the beta.
Ryan and I signed up for the beta, so.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for that. I didn't know that was
So
a thing.
We were like, oh, this is something Blaze would love.
So it's the Magic the Gathering lore combined with a Diablo.
Like Diablo.
Yeah.
All right. That'll be
a thing. That'll be fun. And then some of the sad news, the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog, Roger Craig Smith, has left Sega. He's been the voice of Sonic forever.
Yeah, for probably longer than most of us have been alive.
Probably.
Retiring?
Sonic.
Yeah, he's just retiring from the studio. So someone else is going to have to be Sonic's voice.
Or
Troy Baker. Troy Baker's going to be the voice of Sonic. I'm calling it.
Or they'll just deep fake him forever and pay him royalties.
Can you deep fake a voice?
Maybe.
Possible. Not impossible, but improbable, I think. It would take a whole lot of resources to do something like that.
Yeah,
people do it a lot on the internet.
I want to talk about this last thing, and then I want to talk a little bit about deepfakes, actually. So one of the actresses for Resident Evil Village, of the witches, is actually dead. Colon cancer. Jeanette Maus, I don't know how to say that, M-A-U-S, dies at the age of 39, which is sad. She's never going to get to see how that goes.
That game is a lot of people's most anticipated game of the year. Apparently 7 was really good. I haven't played 7, but they brought the fear back. So like I have access to 7 on the PS5. It's like a free game if you're a PS5 owner. So I may play it or stream it. I'm not sure. One of the two. But they brought the real fear back to Resident Evil, like the old school ones. Like they kind of went in 4 or 5, that era. They were more of an action game, and 6 too. But most people hated 6. So, but 7, they wanted to be a horror game again, and they did it. So I mean, it got great ratings in 7, and 8 or Village, as they're calling it, is supposed to continue that, but they're also bringing in a bunch of the original characters and stuff. Like Chris Redfield is supposed to be one of the main characters in 8. So should be exciting.
Yeah, the zombie mommy. It's a weird combination of horny and afraid. At the
She
same
is a
time.
vampire, by the way, not a witch.
Okay, what I haven't played the game yet, so I don't know. But all I know is the minute we saw that trailer, like r/gaming and like Kotaku have been nothing but memes about this
They were in
character
love with her the moment they saw her.
immediately. Yeah, which I think is hilarious. But I mean, that always happens. It's not that hard to please Reddit.
Does Kotaku have anything else to talk about?
Probably not. I don't know. But deepfakes. How much do you guys know about deepfakes?
Not much.
Some introductory knowledge. They're good, but they're not good enough yet.
I,
Like they're good enough to catch dumb people, but not good enough to catch people who are paying attention.
So to kind of summarize, it's when or this is what I think it is. I haven't looked it up extensively, but I've seen videos where they'll basically take someone's previously said words and then kind of combine them uh, to make the person say whatever they want, and they'll like Photoshop with like a I'm not sure what programs they use, but they'll have like a moving picture, and they'll Photoshop somebody else's face onto uh, like a different person and make
Is
it
it
look
like
like.
the Paul Walker thing, kind of?
It's
Is that what?
that's exactly what it is. So to clarify just a little bit on what Blaze was trying to say, what they do is they take thousands to millions of pictures of who they're trying to. So in the case of Paul Walker, they would have taken thousands to hundreds of thousands to millions of pictures of his face in high quality, as highest quality they could get, making different expressions, the way he forms his words, just anything to do with his face, and they put it into a machine learning program that tries to use these images as reference to recreate digitally the face. And what they do is they take that face that the computer generates and they put it on top of an actor who is supposed to be performing the action, and that's how you kind of get like the Paul Walker thing. Now he didn't say anything. All he really did was look. I don't think he said anything. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. But it's not there yet because the computers aren't 100% accurate, and everybody's so individualistic with their expressions and like the minutia of things that you do. Everybody moves a little different, talks a little different, sounds a little different. So it's incredibly difficult to nail it. But there have been some really good ones, like the Princess Leia from one of the newer Star Wars movies. That older general, I forget his name, was also in one of the Star Wars movies. And then most recently, in the
Admiral
Mandalorian,
Akbar.
it wasn't Admiral Akbar. It was the older white dude who was
Oh,
I don't remember his name, and I feel bad for not remembering it. But I haven't watched The Mandalorian, but I've seen plenty of spoilers for the last episode, so I'm not going to say anything in case anybody else has. But there was some used in one of the more recent episodes, and it was okay for a TV show. I think it was pretty good. It's not what I would expected out of Disney for like a movie, but I think they're getting pretty close. And I think in the next 5 to 10 years, deepfakes are going to be way more
General
prominent.
Tarkin.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry,
So
it was driving me crazy.
Yeah,
are you concerned at all about people using this application once it gets more readily available for somewhat nefarious purposes
absolutely.
and
I'm
like destroying people's reputations with lies?
I'm absolutely concerned that this is somehow going to find it in the hands of Reddit, and they're going to Wall Street bets some poor person who doesn't deserve it. You know, or they'll do it to somebody who does deserve it, and it's still not going to be a good thing. I obviously hope that doesn't happen, but knowing the internet, it absolutely will. The first thing it's going to be used for sure, commercially, is taking celebrity faces and using them in porn. 100%.
Yep.
100%. That's always where it starts. They're going to start deep faking people in porn. Because right now, let's be honest, Like, getting lookalikes is just not the same.
All right.
I'm just imagining like some porno, and then that like it's like the shittiest Photoshop you could imagine. Like,
It's probably not too far off. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's got to be super software intensive. I can't imagine that it's going to progress to a point where like your phone would be able to deepfake things effectively, like on the go. Are you guys familiar with Cord or Digital at all?
no.
Cord or digital?
Corridor Digital.
No.
I get a lot of my knowledge of what they're doing from them, and then a little bit of research on the side. But they've done deep fakes that were pretty good. But they're a VFX group. They do. Actually, I don't know how to classify them. They're a YouTube channel that makes short films, but also does VFX breakdowns, and they do like a VFX artists react, make their own short films and stuff. It's really
they
interesting.
Are they the ones that did that robot?
Yes, the Boston Dynamics robot
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah.
The Boss Town Dynamics robots was them. I remember the first time that video came out, and then I saw it on the news. I saw it come up later that it was on the news, and I was like, "That's hilarious!" That the news didn't know that this was a meme from a YouTube channel. But yeah, they've done some really good work, and just watching them break stuff down, like the deep fakes and how it happens. That stuff's really interesting and just really out of my depth, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty
You
crazy.
broke the silence. I was going to see how long it was going to go.
Sorry. One of the things, we're kind of close to some of this stuff. On phones even. They have like the face swap apps and stuff now where you can take someone's face and put it on something else.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that's just a basic generic kind of thing.
But like how
But
long until it's
yeah,
close?
like we got to be close.
I don't know.
So,
I mean, a video is just like thousands and millions of pictures being taken at once or continually.
Yeah, effectively. So.
pretty much, yes.
All right.
But-
Well, we've been going for almost an hour now, and I'm sure that Blaze is dying from hunger, and that Fuzz is ready to get something in his belly too.
He
So,
does have to download those groceries.
He has to upload the groceries.
Or upload them.
He has
Sorry,
to upload
my
the
bad.
groceries that no one's gonna understand because I'm gonna cut that part out of the video. But I'm gonna.
Oh, you
leave this
should
in.
not cut that out.
Maybe I'll move it to the end for context. I don't know. I
How
haven't
many
decided.
groceries you got?
I'll decide tomorrow.
Is it a lot of groceries or just a little bit of groceries?
Just a little bit of groceries.
How many kilobytes of groceries?
Oh, this is like
Like
I mean,
megabytes?
yeah. I mean, it's probably like 150 megs. It's not,
That's a lot of groceries.
That's like those are some. It's a small amount of high definition groceries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Like
Super HD.
Premium.
yeah.
All right, now
So-
we're rambling. Anyway, thanks guys for watching episode 9 of the Ignorant Experts podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe. Leave us a comment down below if you have something you want us to talk about, or if you have any criticisms for how we can improve. That's appreciated, because sometimes it's hard to tell when you're looking at things from the inside. But we'll be back next week. I don't think anything special is happening between now and next week. Valentine's Day is coming up, right? When is
It's
Valentine's?
2 weeks away. We're fine.
When's Valentine's Day? Well, Zach and I don't have to worry about it anyway. It's on a
Yeah.
Sunday anyway. We'll be fine. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.